I am Lamont at large. Today, I am at the Oak Hill Cemetery in Lebanon, Indiana. I'm here to talk about a case, the October 26, 1965 torture and murder of Sylvia Likens. A case that to this day, people in Indiana say it is the worst crime ever committed in the state's history. This story has often been talked about in many videos on YouTube. A couple documentaries were made about it, and a couple books were also written about this case. So in the fall of 1965, the parents of Sylvia and Jenny Likens had brought them to a house to have the girls watched over as the parents, who were traveling carnival workers, could go and work. The woman's house that they were brought to was a woman by the name of Gertrude Banaszewski. And a true house of horrors, and that is where the absolute torture of this poor girl began. Systematically and insidiously, without any regard for anybody's life, Gertrude Banaszewski and her children, John Stephen Banaszewski and Paula Banaszewski, was systematically beat, burn, cut, stab, torture this poor girl for no reason whatsoever. I read about the case somewhat. I didn't get too much into detail because I just found this grave as I was traveling through town. And over the course of 3 weeks, while the girls were in the care of the Banaszewskis, the neighborhood boys would come and torture the girls and beat them. Sylvia's sister was stricken with polio when she was a young kid, so her being basically handicapped, it would be difficult for her to defend her sister, both of them being beaten. Simply for the reason that comes to me, I have no clue why this even happened. All I can say is that she was a sick woman, and this poor girl was tortured to death. She died on October 26th, 1965, and during the autopsy, the coroner noted well over 150 wounds on the victim's body. Her nails were bent backwards. Her lip was basically chewed off. She had bruising all over her body. One side of her face was damaged so badly that the skin, even before her death, was decaying. And like I said at the start of the video, considered the worst crime in Indiana state history. This is her grave. This is Sylvia Likens, 16 years old when she was tortured and murdered. And eventually, after her death, Gertrude, Paula, and John Stephen Banaszewski was brought to justice along with Richard Hobbs and Coy Hubbard. The three boys, Coy, Richard, and John, were 13, 15, and 15, received only a few years in some type of a reformatory style prison. Gertrude and Paula Banaszewski were convicted of first-degree murder, and they were sentenced to life in prison. However, that was overturned, and they were both released from prison. Gertrude was paroled in 1985, and she ended up moving to Iowa, and she died 5 years later of lung cancer. And her daughter, Paula Banaszewski, she had gotten out a few years after the other younger kids. And there was an article that, this goes to show you how a case like this, a horrible case, can follow you. She had gotten a job at a school and changed her name and everything, and people around the community found out who she was, and she was promptly fired, and rightfully so. Paula Banaszewski, if she's still alive today, should never ever be allowed to teach anywhere or be around anybody's kids. This case struck me, even though I did not read too much about it, just the mere fact of how horrible it was. And during the cross-examination, the defense for the Banashevskys, they had questioned Jenny Likens about why didn't she defend her sister, and she said, well, I was afraid that they would kill me. And she broke down and cried, and she said, I didn't want my sister to die. They forced a tattoo on this poor girl. And when they asked Gertrude Banashevsky why she did this, why she beat this girl, she tortured this girl, she maimed her, she murdered her, she said because Sylvia started a rumor in school that her children were prostitutes. Just an outright lie. When they would cut this girl with knives, they would rub salt in her wounds. They threw her down the stairs multiple times. And they would even invite other neighborhood kids to come in and lay in on her with the beatings and the tortures. One of the worst stories involving just a torturous abuse I've ever seen in my life. I don't understand. One of the boys, 15-year-old Richard Hobbs, did a few years in that reformatory school. Well, he got out and he got what was coming to him, and he died of cancer 4 years later. That's awfully young to be 21, 22 years old and to die of cancer. And the Banashevsky son, he later grew up, had kids. He died about 10 years ago. A horrible, horrible story. And there's a lot of people that have done videos on YouTube. And if you need or want any more information about the case, a lot of people have gone and delved in deeper on podcasts about this. I'm simply just kind of giving you a quick synopsis of what happened and showing you the resting place of Sylvia Likens. So, some crimes I read often about, and I just don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what kind of sick, perverted woman Gertrude was, but hey, I'll say this, every dog has his day, and judgment will be up to a higher power. So rest in peace to Sylvia, and I am Lamont at large on this rainy, dreary day in Lebanon, Indiana. Thank you for watching my vlog. I appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.